What's up, YouTube? It's Carolina Calvin. Welcome to my recap of the Carolina Panthers victory of 27-23 over the Seattle Seahawks. Get into specifics. I'm not gonna try to go on too long with you know, pretty much breaking out every single, especially on the defensive side. I'll just point out some of the key players that I saw. Of course, I use Game Pass. We watched the game. I watched the game live, but there's so much emotion when you watch it. You miss things, so it's best to just rewatch the game. I wanted to get this out yesterday, but didn't have the time. And the last couple of Panther games I did not do, so I need to really start to do these reviews, these recaps of some of these games. This game, I thought this was their best win. Because the previous four games, the teams weren't as good, and then a lot of people looking at it was like, well, they haven't beaten anyone. Okay, that's fine, but this was a game I really wanted them to win. And for the most part, the first half they did not look good, especially in that second quarter. They did not look good in that second quarter, but in the second half they really started to make plays, and they were able to pick up the victory at the end. I believe it was a touchdown to Greg Olsen with 32 seconds left. I'm going to start with Seattle, get all the numbers. Russell Wilson, 18 of 30, 239 yards, one touchdown, zero picks. Thought he played okay. Made some plays with his legs. He was under pressure a lot in this game. I believe he was sacked 4 times, but he was under way more pressure than that. And a lot of times teams just don't get this guy down. If he wasn't a running quarterback, he'd be sacked way more than the numbers show. But if you look at how many times he was hurried quite often. So that offensive line is still an issue. It's still an issue with this team. From the receiving core, from a receiving standpoint, Jimmy Graham, 8 receptions, 140 yards, best game of the season. They really started to throw him the ball. He was targeted 12 times. Doug Baldwin, 3 receptions, 23. Fred Jackson, 2 receptions, 7. Ricardo Lockett, 2 receptions, 41, and a touchdown. He had that amazing catch for Russell Wilson's lone touchdown. It was an amazing effort by him. Chris Matthews, 1 reception, 12. And Luke Wilson, 1 reception, 16. Rushing, Marshawn Lynch, 17 carries, 54 yards. He's just coming back off an injury, so didn't run it as much as they normally do. But he did have 1 touchdown. I thought he played well in some of the with some of the carries, but the offensive line is not good. They don't do a good job blocking. For the most part, since he's been in Seattle, they haven't done a good job. With the guys that he had before were a lot better than the guys he have now. But with Marshawn Lynch, he's gonna make guys miss. He's gonna break tackles. But I thought for the most part, Carolina did do a good job against him. He did have some nice cutback runs, but for the most part, most of his carries weren't. They were very short in terms of gains. Russell Wilson, 8 carries for 53 yards, and that's where he kills you. You think you got him under pressure, and he ends up getting 10, 15 yards on a undesigned quarterback run. Defensively for Seattle, Bruce Irvin to me up front was the key guy. He had 2 sacks. He was able to get some pressure. If we're talking about the back end, I would say Earl Thomas made some plays. He made some plays. Fortunately, at the end, him and Sherman, don't know what happened with them. They got confused in their coverage. You hardly ever see that happen with those 2 guys. He did have one pick. Cam Chancellor also had a pick. I'm trying to think. There was another guy that I wanted to point out. Okay. I would say, for the most part, they were able to keep Cam Newton contained. They were able to get some pressure on him. But that fourth quarter, man, a lot of people point out that offensive line, which, of course, it is an issue, especially with Russell Wilson being one of the most sacked quarterbacks in football. But defensively, you look at the Cincinnati game, that fourth quarter, and that whole second half, they gave away those games. Carolina game. They got outscored 13-3. I believe it was 13-3. Let me make sure that. Yes, they got outscored 13-3 for one. The most part, they were able to. You look at that first half. Carolina only had 7 points. They gave up 20 in second half, 13 in the fourth on two 80 plus yard drives, and a complete blown coverage, pretty much to ice the game for Carolina. So it is definitely been an issue with defensively them giving up, essentially giving up the game. We knew 2-3 years ago that team when they got a lead hardly ever lost it because the defense was so great. Looking on Carolina side, Cam Newton 20-36, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Like I said, I thought they were able to keep him contained. They were able to get some pressure on him. They forced him 2 turnovers. One was just an amazing play by Earl Thomas. The other one was a bad decision by Cam Newton. But I thought that the last drive, Cam Newton looked really good, and that was the lone touchdown he did have. But he has to really cut back on some of those picks. But I'm not gonna say he played horrible. Yeah, you look at the 2 picks, but yeah, I thought he played solid. From Carolina's rushing game, Jonathan Stewart 20 carries, 78 yards, 2 touchdowns. Now, yeah, he only had 78 yards, but he broke a lot of tackles. He broke a lot of tackles. I think he ran really hard, especially against this defense. That they normally don't give up a bunch of rushing yards. I thought, and Panthers offensive line I thought did a good job blocking, way better than I thought they would have done, blocking for the run. So hats off to the way the offensive line blocked, especially in those drives where he did score touchdowns. I thought they did a good job blocking. Jonathan Stewart, probably his best game of the season. It is his best game of the season. For the most part, most of the rushing yards have come from Cam Newton. Rushing touchdowns, really Cam Newton. So to see someone outside of Cam Newton have a good game on the ground is definitely a plus. Cam Newton, seven carries, 30 yards, and a touchdown. He had that goal line design quarterback run. Philly Brown, 2 carries, 15 yards. Mike Tolbert, 3 carries, 10 yards, and Fozzie Whitaker, 1 carry, 2 yards. Receiving, Greg Olsen, probably his best game. 7 receptions, 131 yards, and a touchdown. Touchdown in the game to win it. Ed Dixon, 3 receptions, 24. Philly Brown, 2 receptions, 22. Jericho Cotchery, 2 receptions, 21. He also had a big catch. I believe it was like 3rd and 6. It was actually a drive where they took the lead. He had the guy was all over him, and he made a nice catch. So he was a big reason why that drive went the way it went. Devin Funchess, 2 receptions, 24. I believe he dropped like three passes. He's having trouble catching the ball, but he is a rookie. He's no Kelvin Benjamin, but they're hoping that he gets better as the season goes on, and as he continues to play out there. Fozzie Whitaker, 2 receptions, 21. Ted Ginn, 1 reception, 18. He has to play better than that, especially seeing that he's going to be the one guy that Cam Newton's going to target quite often, most of the time as a receiver. Obviously, Greg Olsen's going to be the guy he's going to target. And Jonathan Stewart, 1 reception for 8. Defensively, I thought the defense, especially in that second half, they were able to get pressure on Russell Wilson. They still broke down a couple of times. Josh Norman, I thought, played good. Luke Kuechly was amazing. Thomas Davis was amazing. It was interesting to see the battle. Luke Kuechly and Marshawn Lynch, and it was a lot of people don't see stuff like that, but just looking at that game, you knew Luke Kuechly was gonna be the guy that's gonna have to make most of the tackles on Marshawn Lynch, and I thought defensively front seven did a pretty good job. They gave up a couple cutback runs. They broke contain on Russell Wilson a few times, but I think when they needed to get pressure, third, fourth quarter, they were able to get pressure. And the secondary, for the most part, outside of a few big throws down the field, I thought played pretty good. Um, the reason the Seattle was able to score the way they did was because of turnovers. 2 picks gave them good field position, and they were able to capitalize on that. Now, let's look at some of the team stats. Let me quickly go through this. Carolina had 25 first downs. This kind of jumped at me. Carolina had 25 first downs. Seattle had 14. So we know that Seattle was getting big plays and short fields. That's how they were got the amount of points they did get. Short fields, big plays. Let me see. Okay, I'm looking at turnovers. Give me 1 second. Carolina had 2 turnovers. Definitely hurt them early on in the game. Seattle was able to jump on them really quick. I believe it was what was it? Yeah, they were able to jump out to them on a 27 lead in the third quarter, and mainly came off turnovers. Where Seattle was able to get a short field and big plays, as I mentioned earlier. Time of possession, Carolina 32-12. You can attribute that to the 280-yard drives in the fourth quarter to essentially get them. No, let me see. Hold on. Yeah, the 280-yard drive. Because I keep forgetting that they missed the extra point. So it should have been 14-3 in the fourth quarter, but they missed the extra point. In the fourth quarter, they had 280-yard drives. They were able to make good protection. And Cam Newton was making the throws. Guys was catching the ball. Even Devin Funchess, who you'll think Cam Newton would lose confidence in him. He made some plays. Jericho Cotry's play, and of course Greg Olsen's play. So I thought they had some sustaining drives. That's a big reason why they had the 32-12 time possession to 27-48 to Seattle's. Looking at this game, I thought Carolina really struggled early on. You can see Seattle did a pass rush. They were able to get to them down the field. The Seattle played a lot of man on the receivers. They wanted Cam Newton to make tight throws with, let's just say, bad receivers. Receivers aren't that good. Ted Ginn, Jericho Cotry are your top two in terms of the receiving core. Of course, you got Greg Olsen, but you can see they sent some blitzes after Cam. So they were trying to get pressure, sent blitzes, played 1-on-1, and forced him to make those tight throws. I thought in the second half, they really started to make adjustments. He started to make throws down the field. The protection got better. The running game was good. Despite you look at it, 20 carries, 70 yards. It just you have to look at the game to see how many tackles he broke. So I think this is an amazing win for the Panthers. We will see how the rest of the season goes. The schedule's gonna get. You still got the Packers. You got some of those NFC East teams. You still got Atlanta. You got to play Atlanta twice. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes with them. Can he keep up? I want to see what I saw in the fourth quarter. I don't want to see the first half. I want to see what I saw in the fourth quarter. Seattle, they got to fix those issues with their offensive line, man. That's a huge problem. And I think they still have a bunch of talent on their defense. They just have to get stops. And at the end of that game, uncharacteristic mistake by two of their better defenders, in Earl Thomas and Richard Sherman. But they have to. They have to recover. They have to cover for their offense. The offense has been struggling. Marshawn Lynch is not completely healthy, and then Russell Wilson is running for his life majority of the games. But anyways, let me know what you think down in the comment section. Video went on 15 minutes. Let me know what you think down in the comment section. Hit that thumbs up button if you like this video and subscribe. Thanks for watching.